this is Austin. Our other group members are Sam and Jason, and we put on a 3v3 indoor soccer tournament for our group event. As a group, we wanted to put on an event that the student body could participate in a safe environment, have some fun, and simultaneously, we also wanted to get experience for ourselves out of this event when it comes to having knowledge of just putting on an event in general. So we split our aims and objectives up in two ways, external and internal. Externally, we wanted to provide a fun and safe environment for the student body by putting on this event. We wanted to make it easy for them to register and come and enjoy our event. We wanted to increase the on-campus student activity, as this is a commuter school. We don't really get much going on campus, so we wanted to make something fun for the student body to do on a Friday afternoon. Internally, we as a group wanted to gain knowledge and experience about running an event in the sporting industry. We wanted to learn how to manage it well. We wanted to gain knowledge and experience when it comes to the promotion and marketing of an event. And we overall just wanted to learn what works well and what really doesn't work when it comes to doing this type of thing.
So this is the event planning process that we used. We got it through this class from your slides online. Let's begin with the initiation and the objectives and values of our event. So we decided that we would do a SMART analysis of our objectives and values. We came up with our specific goals as to increase on-campus student participation, as well as keeping a competitive environment for those students. The way we want to measure this in this event is through the number of people we get and the number of teams we get to sign up. An attainable goal for us is, we know this is a class project, it's supposed to be for fun, so we weren't really expecting a lot of teams to show up. We just wanted to host an environment that was fun for people and that we could learn from. Leading into that, our relevant objective is for us to gain real life knowledge and experience in hosting and managing an event. Finally, our time orients were to schedule the event and also find a date that suits it well, that suits the event well, and that is convenient for people to participate in. We'll move on to the concept. We weren't, like I said before, we weren't expecting like 100 teams to show up. We just wanted enough teams for a good tournament. So with that, we said we'll consider the event a success as long as we have a good amount of teams, everyone has fun, and we can gain experience from it. To make this event feasible, we decided that we needed around 4 or so teams. I mean, obviously the more the better, but to host a good feasible tournament, we wanted around 4 teams. This is our event management plan, and as you can see, you can look into the evidence documents that we sent you, and it's evidence document 2. And it's our event management plan, and it kind of just lists out all of our duties throughout the project in which each person handled.
So for my part of the planning process, I kind of took control of figuring out where we were going to have it and making the scheduling plan for that. One of the things we first talked about was if we should have it on campus or off campus. There is surrounding parks right around UCCS that we could have held the event at, where we wouldn't have had to have scheduling conflicts with the UCCS Rec Center or intramurals and things like that. We ultimately decided that it would be the best to have it on campus because it would be more organized and people would be more likely to show up. The next thing we had to decide about was if it should be inside or outside. And we decided to go inside because of weather, and overall KB said that it's a bad idea to go outside because during the week that we held the event it was very cold and there was a high chance of injuries out on the Alpine field, which is turf. The next thing we had to decide was if we wanted it during the week or the weekend. After discussing with our class in our first presentation, we came up with the decision to go during the week because more people are on campus and are ready to just be there for at least a couple more hours.
So I took on the budgeting and funding part of our planning process. We obviously we're poor college students, so we didn't want to spend a lot of money creating this event. So thanks to the rec center, we got to rent out the rec center for free. They didn't charge us for that. Also, the intramurals didn't charge us for any of their equipment. That really helped out. And finally, marketing. We just for marketing, most of our marketing was done online, which we didn't have to pay for, as well as the posters that we hung around campus, so it was relatively cheap. We did get the bookstore to sponsor our tournament, which was pretty cool. They gave us a $100 credit, in-store credit, so with that we bought a bunch of cool prizes for the tournament, and in the picture you can see we've got some t-shirts, water bottles, and lanyards, so that was pretty nice to have.
Okay, and then me and Sam were in charge of the equipment for this soccer tournament. And one issue that we had was that Mallory Price, who's the head of intramurals and club sports, was out of town during the week of our event. But we were able to meet up with Joe West, who's a representative for intramural sports, and he helped us get a scoreboard, soccer balls, soccer nets. And then me and Sam built a bracket for the tournament, and then we also were able to get some tables to help run the event. And then me and Courtney were in charge of the officiating, and we got the indoor soccer rules from the campus recreation center. This was a huge learning curve for us, and this was our only source of information on the rules. So we eventually decided against officiating it, and we let the players self-officiate since they knew more about the rules than we did.
So the way we marketed this event was 3 different specific ways. We did posters, social media marketing via Facebook, and email and IM leaks. The way we use these posters is we made a poster that had all the relevant, important information about the tournament. We printed a bunch of posters and hung them up around campus in the different buildings on the cork boards that you see around. Through my Facebook account, I made an event where this also had the relevant, important information as well as the poster. And as a group, we all got on Facebook and invited all of our friends that went to UCCS. We invited them to attend the event, and there they could RSVP and sign up via Facebook. We also sent out emails to the sport management students and the College of Business students, as well as an email through IM Leagues, where if you have an IM Leagues account, you would have received this email or text message. We made a event-specific email address where the participants could email this address to sign up for the event, sending us the information about their team, like team captain, team name, team participants. So that was one way that we got the sign-ups so that we could make the brackets. Sam Gibb also gave his phone number out, and participants were able to text him signing up just the same way as they would have done via email.
So the next part of our presentation is the event itself. We had 7 teams, and we had a total of 32 participants, and we also had a handful of people come in and actually watch the event and just have fun watching them. Overall, we decided that the event went pretty well. This is a picture of the 7 teams that we had. On our bracket, the team Power Towels was not, we forgot to take a picture of them before they left. But as you can tell, I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but there's really competitive soccer players, and then there's people that came just to have a good time, which is kind of what we wanted to, which is kind of the group that we wanted.
Okay, so here's the bracket. We originally planned on a 6-team tournament, and then at the day of the tournament, we had an extra team sign up. So we ended up having to create a new bracket, And this is our final bracket that we had, with the champs winning in the championship game. The final score was 7-3.
We then kind of wanted to evaluate ourselves from an external standpoint and get everybody else's view of how we did. So we handed out a couple of surveys, and what we grabbed overall was the improvements we needed to make was the refereeing. A lot of players thought that they would rather have had us officiate it instead of their own players because of disagreements and things like that. Everybody wished that we had a more organized sign up. We tried to make it formal through the email that we set up for the event and also through IM Leagues. We had an informal sign up, which was through texting me or calling me and signing up that way. We also allowed players to show up or teams to show up the day of without signing up, and that caused a little bit of problems, as Jason just showed us. They also wish that we had a couple more teams. What we did well was we created a positive environment. It was still competitive, and the games were still fun and at the same time. The organization of the event also ran really well. As soon as we finally got our final bracket down, we did a good job of running the games as they should be, starting and stopping them on time and things like that. And the rest of our surveys can be found in the evidence file that we provided to you. Next, we wanted to do an internal analysis, so we created a SWOT analysis for ourselves. Some of our strengths were the overall operation of the event ran very well. It was organized, and teams didn't have too much to complain about. Another one of our strengths was our communication between our members. We kept in touch about 2 or 3 times a week and made sure everybody was up to date and everybody understood what our next point of attack was for our event. The planning process about 3 days before we thought was one of our strongest points as well. Everybody knew exactly what was going to happen, where and when to be up until the event itself. Where our weaknesses were was refereeing, finding a date and time. We ran into a problem with KB where he gave us the wrong email address, and we ended up stumbling through that process, which ended up taking us a few weeks, which gave us a late start to the rest of our presentation, or to the rest of our event, which kind of domino affected into us not having enough time for marketing. We did have 32 people there, but we agreed that we could have had more if we would have had more time, and we wouldn't have had such a stumbling problem with KB.
So some of the major opportunities that we had was we kept it free participation tournament, so no one had to pay money to sign up. They can just sign up freely or even show up the day of the event and get on a team. Another opportunity we had was it was on campus at the rec center, so it was made available to a lot of the students, and they could find it easily. You didn't have to worry about much there. Next, IM League really helped us out. They sent out a mass email and text message to all the people who are signed up through IM Leagues, and that's more of a market that's interested in sports, so we received a lot more success doing it that way. Next, we have the bookstore who sponsored us. They really helped us out once again with the prizes that they gave us and the $100 donations. And our friends really came out and supported us, which we enjoyed. That was nice to have them there. Some of the threats, we weren't sure where we were going to have the location at first. We didn't know if we were going to be able to book it in the gym or have to do that at a park across the street, which leads into our next threat of the weather. We could have, if we would have done it outside, we could have had terrible weather and it would have ruined our event. Next, court space. Initially, we thought one court would be enough because we only had 5 teams sign up at that one point, but then we had about 7 teams come in the day of the tournament, and we realized we didn't have enough court space, and then we could have actually used 2 courts. And the last one is time. Along with those other teams signing up the day of the event, we were kind of short on time, so we had to shorten the games by 2 minutes each. All right, so to wrap this thing up, what worked well for us was the location. It was on campus. It was easily